All right, we're live. It is Saturday, May 6th, 2023, and you're listening to Jared and Mike Tell It Right podcast. Everybody, I just have to say thank you for joining in today. Today is a full moon night, which is what I'm talking about. Conspiracy theory episode.
Yeah.
So for all you YouTubers that watch us for 13 seconds, I think you should stick around just a little bit longer because we got some things to talk about here today. So, but how's it going, Jared? It's Saturday. How's your Saturday treating you?
It's always short. You know what I mean? Like you wake up and then all of a sudden it's Sunday. You're like, fuck. What did I do?
Yeah. You know, it sucks, man. You remember back when, you know, you were a teenager and you're listening to Blink-182 and you're just like, this could last forever, and how wrong that was.
Oh,
but no, I mean, like, back in the day, dude, like, life just felt like it was longer. I mean, I, like, feel like my decade from being, like, 10 years old to 20 years old was, like, a long time. But then from 20 to 30 was like, bam. Just like I just time traveled, and now I'm 35 years old and fat. And, and can't read still.
Wish ball, I never learned to read.
No, there's always that Simpsons where he's like, something about him being fat and he can't read or something like that. You're so fat and dumb and you can't read or something like that. I don't remember, but I always like to throw out there I'm fat and dumb and I can't read. So I guess my problem really is I can't type. I don't know how to spell words for worth of shit. I've actually been told that I sound like a Gungan when I type. That I'm like Jar Jar Binks. And like I started reading. Yeah, like I started reading some like my, you know, when I just start shooting shit off and my thumbs miss everywhere. But like I just started reading that. I'm like, yeah, I really do sound like Jar Jar Binks right now.
Like,
hey, Misa wanna talk? Misa wanna do a podcast tonight?
Like, what the fuck's this asshole talking about?
Yeah, sure, Mike. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I mean, if it wasn't for spell check, you'd be fucked.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes spell check doesn't work in my favor.
No.
But for the most part, yeah, you're right. If I didn't have spell check, like, oh my god, like I just imagine growing up in the 1800s. I mean, I would probably be homeless. Like I'd be homeless. I wouldn't know how to do math, and because I wouldn't have a calculator.
Yeah, but like back in the day, like they actually educated you and didn't like just bullshit around like they do nowadays. Like learning was actually like something that you wanted to do as a kid and shit. Because there wasn't TV and shit. Like you didn't want to just sit around and do nothing or have to work. You go to school, like you learn shit. Like you actually wanted to be there. Like now it's like, fuck. They're just grooming you to be another fucking number.
Just a worker bee. I mean, like back in like the 1800s, I don't think they necessarily had a better education. I think what ended up happening is these kids had to go to fucking work, and they learned on the job. You know, learning on the job isn't a bad thing, guys. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying we need to throw our kids in the workforce or anything, but that's where you learn. You don't fucking learn in school. I mean, you know what? I went to 4 years of college, learned construction management, and, you know, I thought I learned a lot, but then when I was on the job site, you know what? I learned how to write papers and reports and shit, but, like, I didn't actually learn necessarily, like, the basics of construction and all that. So I had to start learning, you know, like, the different tidbits of things, like the different codes and, like, you know, all this shit, like, you know, all construction's like laid out in like some kind of like coded format. So like you have like I forget what they call it, but like it starts at like 1 and goes all the way down to like 12 or something. Then it's all your different trades, or 16. I think there's 16 different trades out there. but that's the order that you would actually do a construction project in. So, I mean, like, you know, you have your site survey teams come in, they're like number one and all that. And then like your concrete guy, your structural guys and all that, they put the structure up. And then somewhere down the line, the carpentry comes in. And then really at the end is your electrical and your mechanical stuff. So, and that, you know, they throw all that shit in last. I don't know.
You didn't go to like a vocational school like during high school?
Oh, fuck no. I Western Illinois, right there. I went to Western Illinois.
But I mean, like during high school, you didn't go to a like off-site. Okay, yeah, because that's what I did. Like I didn't even go to college.
No, but you flew. You manned a 50 caliber machine gun on a fucking helicopter, and you were responsible for keeping that fucker in the air. So, well, I don't know. I think that's a little cooler than taking some construction classes at WIU and getting fucked up off Keystone Light.
I mean,
so, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I went to a technical school, so like like there's ITT Tech and all those. So I went to the Universal Technical Institute for Automotive and heavy diesel shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a degree or anything. Like that was the biggest scam on the planet.
Oh yeah.
Because in Illinois, it doesn't count for anything because we suck, and you have to have your what do you call it? Your gen eds.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, the degree I got from UTI meant nothing. Like I could have a bachelor's in automotive science and shit, but I don't have the gen eds. And I have more college credits than most people because of the military and UTI combined.
Fucking,
and I don't do anything, man.
What are those things called? Quip tests or CLEP tests?
I don't know. What is it?
All right. So I heard the military has these tests. Like, all right. So, like, say you don't want to fucking go through a course, right? You're like, this is below me. You could take one of these CLEP tests or whatever they call it. And you basically, they give you a test. You just got to read the information, and if you pass the test, they'll let you exceed on. Because this is what the Air Force recruiter was telling me. He actually showed me an article of a girl who, I think, like within 2 years, like got her, or no, within 6 months, got her fucking associate's degree.
You mean because you just go in and like into a college and just test out of the class and they give you a credit for you?
Exactly.
Damn, yes. I should do that shit.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Like you should get those gen eds and just CLEP test the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
But you could test out and he was telling me like, yeah, dude, if you're smart enough, like you could literally, because I guess the whole thing that appealed to me with the Air Force too was they're the only branch that has their own college, but it's more of a community college, right? So you don't have, they're not talking about the Air Force Academy or West Point. That's something too fucking high in prestige, to even think about. The Air Force has their own college for the general infantry, for the enlisted and whatnot. So, but it's more like a community college when you think.
Yeah, it's an on-base college that they still...
Right. Yeah. And they'll all get associate's degrees if they go through it and all that shit. I don't think they necessarily get degrees, but they might. I don't know. But yeah, the CLEP test though, that's how you got to do it, man. Like the recruiter was telling me, like for one of his credits for recruiting, he did it. He just had to do a speech class. He didn't want to do a speech class, and all he had to do was just write a fucking speech and then say it on a recorder. On a tape deck back in the day, and then send it in.
What's a tape deck?
Yeah, right. What's a tape? I'm sorry, Mr. Recruiter. What's a tape deck?
Yeah.
Do we need to know this in the Air Force? No, yeah, but that's like, man, I wish I did it. I wish I didn't puss out. Like I'll admit, like I pussed out, but I was kind of like I didn't want to let the recruiter down. Because there was a part of me that felt like I was letting America down. America, I start to think, like, I think with my ADD and all that shit, I think the military would have been one of the best things for me.
It's fantastic.
Sometime. Yeah.
It keeps you busy. You're always doing shit. and like they just wear the fuck out of you, so you have to sleep. So like,
right, yeah. But no, like I think I would have thrived just because of that stress that happens and all that. But like the thing that always intrigued me is like how the military can break a human down to its core and then rebuild it.
Yeah.
That's where you hear these stories of these people. Like, yeah, they weren't fucking good in school and shit, but they go to the military, they get broken down, and they get rebuilt. And now all of a sudden they're like Harvard fucking class people because now they see the world differently and things make sense to them.
Yes.
Because they were brought down to a certain level and then brought up to see the world in a different way now.
It's they hit the reset button and they make you think differently. And like it's all about like mind fucking you, and you don't realize it until it's happening, and then you're like, oh, this motherfuckers. Like, so what I lucked out with is I have like, so everybody calls me, they're like, you're an old soul because you just have this like background, you just know shit. And I went into the military when I was 25. And I had like at 25 had lived like 5 lives by then. And going into the army, it was just, I just signed, I was like, I want to do this. And the guy's like, are you sure? He's like, you're the easiest person that's ever walked in. I don't even have to like sell you. I'm like, nah, I want to do this shit. Sign me up. This is the job I want. He's like, okay, you can do whatever you want. Cause you have to do like they call it the ASVAB test. And it's like, it's like shows what you're good at and shit. The guy's like, you could do anything you want. Really. You have a really good score. And I'm like, I just want to shoot machine guns off a fucking helicopter.
Done.
And he's like, okay, this is what we're doing. But I had this one drill sergeant who just hated me. Like, I'm weird. I'm a weird person that like when I deal with stress, I like have to laugh about it or like smile.
Yeah.
And I get really uncomfortable with it because that's just the way I deal with it. Like if I'm really uncomfortable, I will start like trying to break people with like jokes and like funny shit. And like, just because that's just how I am. I have to be like not thinking about how much anxiety I have in this situation.
Right, yeah.
And there was this one drill sergeant. He hated the shit out of me. He's like, when they had family day, I'll just go back in a second. So this drill sergeant was probably like 5'3", maybe 5 foot even. Yeah. South Chicago black man. Like for real, was from Chicago South Side, in the military, drill sergeant guy. Like just, he's got short person syndrome, and he's black, and he's a drill sergeant from the South Side of Chicago. Like, you don't want to fuck with this dude, even though he's 5'3". Like, he's gonna kill you, right? So, and family day, my family's there, like my parents and all this and that, and they come visit you. This is at the very end of what do you call it? Basic training. And all the drill sergeants introduce themselves to the families and this and that, and they come up to my parents, and the drill sergeant's like, he's like, that son of a bitch, I can't break him. He's like, I just try to bust him up, and he just keeps smiling at me, and it makes me want to bust him up even more.
Now, with that said, you've talked in the past because. Now, Jared flew on a Black Hawk helicopter. He was the chief.
Yeah.
All right. He repaired the fucker and he shot the 50 cal. So, which meant you had to go through special forces training.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you did the search and rescue thing, or not the search and rescue, but the fucking runaway and hide.
The SEER training. Yeah.
Now, were you ever told, like, how you scored on? Do they even tell you how you score on that? Or is that more or less just like you got to experience this, or is it like you get a score at the end?
There's not really much classroom, that's for sure. It's more experience based.
But no, I mean,
it's either a pass or fail. It's kind of like how would you put it? Like SEAL training. Like either you give up or you pass. Yeah,
but don't SEALs though graduate at like the highest of their class or something like that?
Well, that's
like,
yeah, it's not the same, but that's that premise. Like there's no like grade, if you will, that you get from going to SEER training.
I guess maybe that's the wrong thing to ask. I guess so. There's a time, right? So like you get dropped off, you got to be hidden for so long, so because you're mimicking your helicopter crashing, and you survive, and now you gotta hold out until like an evac can come and get you, if it can, you know.
Yeah, that's
or you got to get somewhere where you can.
Yeah.
So, did they tell you like how you rated amongst other people based on your time? Like, did they say like, yeah, hey, you know, most people are caught within 5 minutes. You lasted 2 hours, you know, something like that. Like,
I mean, I wasn't hidden for very long. I mean, there's stuff that actually I technically can't talk about. Like sometimes
fuck you, Uncle Sam.
Sometimes I tell people, but usually I'm really, really drunk. But yeah, technically there's a lot of class. There's actually classified shit that they do, and like I haven't even told people about it. But yeah, But yes, SEER training is a bitch. There's different levels to it. But being in the Black Hawk, because usually you're like, we were an assault squad or assault company, meaning that we're dropping in people and doing like Overwatch, so flying around like any battles and shit, and dropping in soldiers.
You're kind of like, you're the eyes in the sky, essentially, right?
Yeah. So I had to train. Like we had, there's this awesome place in Wisconsin, and I'd go up there like for 2 weeks every year, and we just fly around. And they have a airfield battle course where you fly around and you're shooting a machine gun while you're flying at like shit on the ground. And they have like an old MiG airplane and like a tanker truck and like soldiers out there, and like you're just fucking unloading while this helicopter's like dodging and weaving, and then they'll like come up on things and you're like telling them like, oh, pan right, and you're just like
it's awesome. So you basically had to tell the pilot where to go so you could fucking hit your target then.
Yeah, because they can what's nice about a helicopter is it's 3-dimensional as far as, you know, XYZ. Like I can strafe left, right, I can turn, and I can go, you know, forward, backwards, up and down. So like my job, I mean, everybody, oh, you shot a machine gun and you fixed shit. Technically my job was to call out shit too. So like we had like all kinds of things where like we're clearing engines, like during the startup of the helicopter, I'm walking around the outside, clearing everything, making sure everything's spinning right. Like,
well, I think the thing that people get hung up on is like, okay, there's pilots. Mm-hmm. They're in charge of the aircraft, but
technically
it's really
not.
Right.
We are in charge.
Here's what my grandpa always explained to me. He told me the difference between why the enlisted men have their chevrons on their arm and why the officers have their decals on their
lapel
collars.
Yeah,
and he's basically like, because the enlisted people get shit done. We're the workforce. He's like, we do it. They tell us to do it. You know, so they're the cleaner cut people. They're the white collars in the civilian world, where the enlisted people are more the blue collar. You know what I mean? But like, you being that mechanic and all that, but I think the rank of chief, you know, to me, that always says that you're a leader to the squad or to whatever you're in, right?
Well, the chief
is like, is like the workforce. Like he whips everybody into shape, right? And says, you know, this is where we go, basically. And then the officers rely on that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree with that?
But being in aviation is a little bit different. Like, I always thought of it 100% like how you see it in movies, like, oh, you better not talk back to an officer or all this and that.
Right.
I mean, we all fucked around. Like, whether you were an officer or a crew chief, we slept in the same barracks, you know, when we were off site. Yeah. We drank at the same bar. The thing about being with pilots is that not only do you depend on them for your life, but they depend on you for their life in this because, hey, you're doing something, unsafe. You're like, I would not hesitate to call people out on their shit. And that was kind of what was bred into the culture, because that guy, if he flies it into a tree and fucks up, like, you're dead too. So like, you have the right to say, hey man, there's a fucking tree over there. Obviously you don't say it like that, but hey, we're not clear on the right. We got a tree, this and that, we're this many feet away from this. Like, one of the most stressful things was close proximity landings. Like, we're landing and there's like, you're in a tree line. Because people think that like, oh, if something hits the rotor blades, you're perfectly fine. No, those things are made out of carbon fiber, but they explode really easy, and then it throws the trim off. Like, think of like your wheel on your car. If you hit a pothole, it fucking throws it off, and it's like wiggling all crazy. But this is what's keeping you in the air, like. So, yeah, it was definitely different. I mean, we had. So there's obviously officers, but there's warrant officers. And warrant officers are like the laziest fucking people on the planet. Like, they literally are officers, but they have one job. Like, they don't have to do all the clerical shit like a lieutenant or a captain does. Like, if you're a warrant officer and you're a pilot, you just fly around in helicopters, and that's it. Like, when you get back, you have to fill out some flight information and this and that, but you don't do like where you show up and have to tell people, what to do or this and that. Like, you literally, here's your time, be on site, you're going to fly. And warrant officer, like, there's 5 levels of it too. Like, they were just they did nothing. They'd like sit there and watch you, but they were like, it was like a enlisted person, but just now with power. So they could be lazy and with power. So, yeah, it was wild.
But I guess my point was, back to your drill instructor from fucking boot camp. I just wanted, that's why I was asking about your
SEER training.
Your SEER training. I just wanted to see if he ever got whiff of that. Like, fuck, man, that motherfucker. I knew it. I knew he would do it. I knew it. Son of a bitch can't be broken.
No, that definitely is different. Like, I don't want to say like I had PTSD from it, but I probably did.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't sleep well for like years. Like, I mean, part of it was just I still can't sleep well, most of the time. But yeah, like, I'd wake up every hour on the hour, like clockwork, for like at least a couple of years after all that training and shit.
Just like looking past your back, like.
Oh yeah, I was like paranoid out of my mind. Like, I've really chilled out a lot since I got out, but like I'm still weird where like if we go somewhere, I want to face the door, and like it's not even that I like really care that much anymore, but like it just gives me anxiety. And it's like just dumb shit. Like, I always like thinking the worst thing that's gonna happen, and like my mind's always running around that shit, and I just can't get out of that mindset ever. But
that's wild.
Prepared.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what they wanted.
I'll die young, that's for sure.
It's what they wanted you to. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you remember what was it, like 2 years ago? Or no, it was right before COVID, that year before COVID, where it was close to home, so it shocked a lot of people here. But like in Aurora, Illinois, there was a shooting at some employee went off. He went postal on his place.
Yeah, it was like a shipping company.
Right. Dude, I totally forgot what I was gonna fucking say. Holy shit.
The guy went off.
Yeah.
Killing people.
No, I know. Yeah, I was trying to tie it in with this helicopter shit that we were talking about. Whatever. Sorry, people. This is what happens when we introduce the alcohol and the conspiracy theory talks. We just go on tangents. We think we got something we're going to talk about, and then all of a sudden, nope, it's gone.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It might come back.
Where were we supposed to talk about conspiracy theories?
Well, we are, yeah. So, No, guys.
45
Jared,
minutes into the episode.
You're right, 25. But hey, this is interesting stuff. I actually really enjoy talking about your military career and all that. So
yeah,
I hope everybody else enjoys it too, because they might actually, besides some of the other shit we talk about. So
I've got stories on stories. So whenever we should just have a story time episode at some point.
Yeah, we'll have
some fun shit.
A Jared military story time episode, like we like the story you told on when we were coming back from C2E2. Yeah. When the fucker at the bar was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are fucking military."
Oh yeah, that's
what you guys walk around like your shit don't stink, and you also got clean cut haircuts.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just imagine that conversation. Like he just like all dramatic is like, "Well, you guys walk around like your shit don't stink," but then all of a sudden he goes, "Well, then you also have clean cut haircuts." That's really what gave it away.
Well, yeah. So I mean, the funny part. So that was in Washington D.C. and it's weird because I never realized that the demographic of Washington D.C. is people between the ages of like 25 to 32, 35 years old, like a working professional, young, right out of college type person. Like that is the largest demographic in that area. So like you'd go around and like everything was like curtailed to people that were like my age at the time. I was 25. Like I was with a bunch of younger guys, but I was like, Washington, this is nice. Like we're going. We caught a ball game. We fucking went out to some bars and shit, and it was just like everything was easy to do, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense because if you think about it, I mean, really 1% of Washington D.C. is really just the politicians that are in office, right? If you kind of break down Washington D.C. as itself. So I would say the politicians that are working in Congress and even you could throw the bureaucrats in there too. Like they're all like above their 30s. I would say they're about 1%. But everybody else, they're all like the interns, and they're either working for the government or they're working for the lobbyists.
Yeah.
Because like lobbyists are all over the place out there. You know? Actually, one of our friends, Gabs, I think she said her cousin's like a lobbyist or whatever. I think he lives out in D.C. It's pretty wild what she's told me about him, but yeah. I mean, but it makes sense because like all these people want to get their foot in the door, and they either want to be senators or congressmen in their own state or for the federal government. So they all kind of start there. I went to college with the guy. He claims he worked for Obama. I think he was full of shit, but I do believe he worked in Springfield for a few years, and he was like one of those guys. They're like a runner type thing. They just run documents to congressmen and senators in the chambers, and like they're assistants is what they are. They're interns, more or less.
So
interns.
This brings up a perfect segue. There's actually a conspiracy that I heard the other day, and I was looking at it. I'll actually send this over to you because it's quite interesting. That Michelle Obama is actually a transgendered man.
Whoa! Whew, stop the press. I'm Googling that right now. Okay, go on though. Go on.
Well, so like
start the press again.
So what really like drove everybody to like really look into it was, I guess, Michelle Obama's mother died. And in the will, like it was like publicly shown or something, but in her will, it showed that she left everything to her son, Michael.
And Michael doesn't exist, right?
Well, Michael is a Michelle now. So, and like people started looking into it, and they show like this interview where Obama is like talking to this interview, and he's like, well, yeah, me and Michelle and I, and then, like he called her Michael, and like then there's like everybody always thought she had a penis bulge, Like, and this is way back before this was even came out. But like, if you look at it, it's kind of crazy because I think it's plausible. She is very manly. Like, she's got a jawline like a fucking linebacker.
This is so fucking bizarre. This is conspiracy theory night. This is a fucking full moon right here, guys.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama is a fucking man.
It's a man.
It's a man.
That's not your mother. That's a man, baby.
I'm trying to read this politic fact check website, and they're trying to say like I can't follow this.
Yeah,
this is fucking insane though. Michelle Obama, first lady, is really the first man.
Yeah, people just didn't even realize it. She's just wanging it out in front of everybody.
Wang Chung-ing it.
Fucking Transformers, robots in disguise.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is fucking hilarious.
I mean, I think that's right in line with Australia doesn't exist because you've never seen an Australian child.
Oh my god. But we know New Zealand exists.
Fuck New Zealand. Exists. God damn it.
You fucking love New Zealand.
I despise them. I despise their accent. I just don't like that place.
Same thing as an Australian.
No, it is not. Like, I'm going to send you a clip of this guy, and the only reason I know about him is because he's into racing and shit. But he does all these, like, classes on tuning cars. So, like, I've watched some of his videos, but he's fucking from New Zealand, and his accent is so obnoxious. And, like, he's got that thing where when he talks, it's almost like there's, like, that saliva sound coming off of his front teeth. You'll hear what I'm talking about.
Hey, people.
And I am like the worst person for picking out like just the little things that annoy me from people.
Yeah.
When it comes to like, oh, that guy's mouth is making too much saliva noise. Like, I can't talk to him.
Oh, God. Jared.
Yeah.
Give us some updates here on the smiley face killer. What's going on with that fucker?
So now there's rumors that he's moved down to Texas, Austin, Texas, to be more precise. Really? Yeah. So there's like a stretch of Ladybird Lake and the Colorado River that run near all these places, just like downtown Chicago has the Chicago River. And they're finding bodies washing up on these rivers in kind of the same fashion that they are in Chicago.
Yeah. They call him the roofie serial killer out there.
Well, I mean, they have to be different.
The
because
fucking media is wrong. It's the grounder serial killer.
Yeah.
Because roofies... Well, no, actually, that dude went on the roof. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's go back onto the smiley face killer.
Yeah. So I guess there's multiple men, again, in the same age group, dying in the same fashion, showing up in Austin, Texas. And some people are saying that, it's kind of, these aren't accidental drownings, right? So there's a guy, Kevin Gannon, who's a former NYPD detective sergeant guy, whatever.
He was one of the people that was investigating this shit in New York. Right?
Yes. Yeah. He's saying that this is right in line with the other killings.
Yeah.
And he's like, it might not be just one person. This might be actually a group.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so me and my wife we're watching some smiley face killer stuff. There's some stuff out there right now about it. And that's what I found. I was just shocked every time. Like every killing, like pretty much every one of them considered an accidental drowning. Mm-hmm. Then there was a few that were like they didn't know what kind of drowning it was. Unidentified drowning, I think.
It was like under conspicuous circumstances or something.
And then I remember you saying how like they would find some of these bodies or most of them, and basically the person would be gone for like 30 days or something.
No, it's like 3 days to a week, I think is the time frame.
Oh, I thought this one person was gone for like 30 days, but when they did the actual autopsy, they're like, the body's pristine. There's no way it could have been or maybe 10 days, yeah, or something like that. There's no way it could have been floating for this long, and because they're not finding like sand or like dirt and shit in the like, they're not finding like fluid in the lungs or anything like that. They're not finding like debris building up from just hanging out in the water in the stomach and all that.
Mm-hmm.
They're fresh, essentially.
Yeah,
like you were saying.
They're going missing, and they're not dying until a lot later, which is meaning that they're being held and then killed later on.
Right. That would be crazy, dude, if that's one person, dude. But like, this has been going on.
I don't think that's possible.
Right. I mean, you said this has been going on since like 97 or something like that, or 94.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while, like the late 90s or something. So, I mean, this person has to be some old asshole.
I don't know, man, because from what I was getting out of it is, it seems like the target is young jocks, people that have good things going for them. And it would be strange to me for somebody to like, I don't know how to put it, but it's like, to me, it's strange that someone would go city to city and try to take out this type of demographic. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like with that, like that has to be something like the reason why you would go after that person is because of a bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think like if they killed like 5 or 10 people in New York, like why would they go to, so this is where I do start think like maybe this is a group, and maybe this is a group like that like wants to purify something. So they're trying to rid the world of these type of people, these arrogant jocks that are getting essentially like they're stallions and they're fucking, they got big things coming ahead of them, So I don't know if it's like some kind of, it kind of sounds like it could be like, like the Foot Clan in a way, where like they're rounding up these certain type of people that are like rejected from society. But then, they're being told to target like this certain type of jock, smart male that's in their early mid to late 20s or something like that,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It would seem weird, and you would think that with today's technology and how invasive it is, like, somebody would figure out, oh, well, this guy moved from fucking Chicago, Ohio, or New York to Ohio to Chicago to Austin, all during the time frames of these murders, and maybe we should investigate them. I don't know. Maybe the tech's not there yet, but I mean, like, how I've always told myself, like, obviously murder's wrong, but like, you kind of tell yourself, like, when you watch like some things on TV or when you find out people got caught, like, there's no way. Like, all right, a good example is that Gabby Petito. Remember? And, how the boyfriend killed her or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like when they start, like, they found him right away. Like they started linking this shit like right away. Like they were in the middle of the fucking desert. But then again, they were known to be together, so it would make sense to pin it on him. But like, I just feel like, there in this day of age, you really can't like cover your tracks. I mean, you have to have some, abilities. You know what I mean?
If it's like a network, though,
right? That's where
an underground network.
Maybe
let's get on the dark web, man. Let's just go on the dark web. Be like, can we get bodies, like dead bodies?
Get on that Tor browser.
Yeah.
With what's his face? The
Matt Damon.
No, the Duggar, Josh Duggar, man. He was doing everything on his Tor browser, but he ended up getting caught. That's stupid.
What about that Christopher guy?
Chris Chan?
Chris Chan, that's it.
Chris Chan? Oh my God. that I don't even want to get into that tonight because Chris Chan, like, I spent a good amount of time watching these YouTube documentaries. I went hiking with my cousin, and he just randomly said, like, "Oh yeah, today's a good day to get on some Chris Chan documentaries." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, he starts explaining this about this person that just wanted to be an internet star and like started like YouTubing himself and making these weird videos, and he basically is the original troll is what I'm getting at it. Like when he started like losing competitions and stuff, he like literally thought he made great work, but it was just it was really childish and just like it wasn't good. And yeah, he had an autism issue, or he has autism, and it's a highly functioning one, but like yeah, just in a different world the whole time. And when he was losing, he would start trolling like these websites like Steam, you know, where all these gaming stuff where you download games and shit from, and he would get on these blogs and he'd start just going to town on these people and like saying like, you know, I don't think they should have won, this is unfair. But then people started feeding off of that and started making fun of him. And then they started ripping off his stuff. And like, dude, when you watch this, like, it's amazing. Like a normal person would have killed themselves after like the shit he goes through. These people were catfishing him, thinking like they would get a girl. These people in the chats or whatever in this community, they would get girls to try to talk to him through chat, email, and phone. And like, yeah, he would have like all these like girlfriends through like, they were all long distance. Like they never met up or anything. But like he would always be like, yeah, I got a new girlfriend and all this stuff. But then they would mind fuck him and like get him into weird situations where he was damned if he did or if he was damned if he didn't. And it's like, what the fuck? And then towards the end, he started feeling like he was a transgender. So he started going through the process, started growing his hair out, getting the hormones, and I don't even know if he got the hormones, honestly. I think he just was putting on makeup and growing his hair out and stuff and wearing girl clothes. But, yeah, and then they found it. He told somebody that was a private investigator for something. I don't know why they were investigating him, but he told the guy he's raped his mom many times.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and then now he's in jail. And it's like...
Yeah, he's out of control.
Yeah, I mean, like, the parents never did anything to take him offline. I mean, they just let him go, and then before you knew it, he was 18. And I mean, the life this kid lived. I mean, the parents, like, they were pack rats. Like, he shows video of their house, dude. You had to like walk through things, like you had to like
hoarders,
through.
Like a hoarders episode.
Yeah, it was a hoarders episode. There was just senseless shit everywhere. Papers, stacks of boxes, just all in like living spaces. Like even Chris Chan's room, like you didn't see the whole room, but you could tell like it was pretty claustrophobic in there. He just had shit everywhere. I mean, it was all like set up for display, but like it was packed to the gills. Like just was not a good life to live in. And apparently his parents had kids, both had their own kids, and they abandoned them. And then they met each other. And then they had Chris. So, yeah. There's a lot more to his story. It's just like, that's like, there's like 46 different hour-long documentaries on him. Some dude has been documenting this dude for like the past couple of years now. It's insane. Like he is the most documented person on the internet. At the end of the day, he is. It's crazy.
That's just weird.
So what else is going on in the conspiracy world? Conspiracy theory world.
So I guess one that correlates with what happened recently. There's a bunch of horses that died before the Kentucky Derby that were supposed to compete.
Son of a bitch.
2 of which were under the same trainer. I don't know all the details of the story, but I saw it in the news.
I wonder if it's the guy that won today. Mage. Dude, the guy I was looking at, no, I didn't place any bets today. I'm not a gambler.
Why not?
Because I don't know. I just don't like losing money. I like my money too much. But there's this guy, Two Phils. I don't know why the name just caught me. Started looking him up. Now, I've always known when it comes to horse races. So here's a Jared and Mike tell it right tip right here when you're betting on horses. So you wanna, since we have these cell phones nowadays and we have the ability to look shit up. So when you're at a horse race and you're about to bet on a race, obviously give yourself some time here, but you want to look at the horse's last 2 races. All right, and if they race pretty well, if they're like in the top, 3, first, second, or third, there's a pretty good chance they're gonna win this race. That was always the what do you call it? The mindset I had. I read that somewhere. Two Phils. He had some really good fucking last 3 races. So his last 3 came in. I think the last one, or the latest, or the furthest one out. He did third or second place. Then he went third, but then the last one he did first. So I'm like, yeah, dude, this guy's gonna win. Motherfucker almost won, dude. He was like right there at the end, but on the straightaway, he lost his speed, and this fucker Mage just came out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere. They were next to each other. And he ended up just taking it. And it was clear, like, at first, I'm like, wait, no, it's unofficial. Two Phils still could win. Now, when they showed the replay, dude, it was like, no, man. He was like fucking... he was like a horse length away at that point. So I'm like, fuck. But, dude, like, I'm going to tell you what. I think that my tip here that I just gave, I think it's a good one. Like, he could have fucking won. And I know we all say, yeah, we could have. No, I really think that was a smart way to look at it. And, I mean, he came in second. He was near. But I know you're going to say what Dominic Toretto always said. Winning
doesn't
fucking
matter.
Winning.
Yeah. Don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
How did you like that Dominic Toretto fucking...
Did you buy that thing?
No!
You should have. I would have had you just buy it for me.
Dominic, there's the
Where
dumbest...
was that? Where'd you see that thing?
It's at Target.
Oh, man. I'm going to Target.
So, everybody, I was at Target today, and I'm in the toy aisle because I'm getting a toy. I was getting a toy for my nephew today for his birthday, and I just see this Fast and the Furious section, and like all of a sudden, I see like it's a model, it's a replica home of Dominic Toretto's house, and I'm like, just like looking at it, like, what fucking kid wants a Dominic Toretto house? Like, I'm like, this is the. Well, that's what I was like thinking. Like, this can't be for kids. Like, this has to be for like the adults. Like, I thought of you immediately when I saw it. I'm like, Jared would put this on display in his fucking house.
Would have that shit.
When people come over, he'll be like, "Hey, everybody, make sure you check out the Dominic Toretto replica house over there." Yeah, I'm really proud of that.
It's Dom's Chargers in the driveway.
Right, and it's actually a replica. It is exact detail of the Toretto house.
Yeah, you can even see Mia's butthole in the top floor window.
Did you ever see Chad and JT go deep yet, or no?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
That is the best part. Where they're on that bus tour, and they're taking these people to all the Fast and the Furious spots where they were filming. Oh, guys, look, we're passing by the Toretto house. Holy shit. And they're like, what? Are we going to see anything else besides Fast and the Furious? What? This was a Fast? Yeah, no, it was hilarious. But I was like thinking of that too, because there was a TikTok they did, and he just cites the line, He's like, yeah, my boy Hector's got like,
he's
like
running 3 spoon engines.
Yes.
And NOS.
Yes. He said the dude Chad's at a fucking race, and he's dressed up like a race car driver, like a NASCAR driver, and he's just walking up to random like mechanics and car owners, and he's telling them like, yeah, my boy Hector's got running 2 spoon engines with whatever cans of NOS.
A Motec exhaust system.
Yeah.
NOS.
He's laying that line out for sure, and like these guys are like looking at him like, okay, whatever, like shut up, leave me alone. But I love when he does it. But yeah, so like 3 horses died.
4 horses.
4 horses.
2 of them are suspicious. The other 2, they said, was of not really. They're probably natural causes or something. But
they broke their legs. We had to fucking make them into glue. We had to bring them to the glue factory.
I don't know. For one trainer to kill 2 horses like days before the Kentucky Derby, that shit's. Somebody paid him a bunch of money.
That's a bad day, man. That's a fucking
you don't
bad day.
Fucking just kill horses. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, especially being a trainer, like you should know better. Like if it was sick or if it was, weird looking or there was something wrong with it.
The United States did, actually. Yeah, this is probably like one of the darkest moments of the United States. So, back in the day, there used to be the cavalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out with helicopters. Now you guys are the cavalry. So, well, once they got rid of the cavalry, because now we had Jeeps and all kinds of other means of transportation, they couldn't take care of the horses. They stopped funding it.
Yeah.
So they brought all the horses somewhere, and I think they killed them. And they made that movie with the dude from A River Runs Through It. He like
Matt
saved.
Damon.
No, it wasn't Matt Damon. But like the dude, like the whole point of the movie is he goes to save the horses or something. I think he saves maybe he saved them. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it wasn't as dark as I thought it was in America here.
Was it Seabiscuit?
No. Fuck
was
Jake
Warhorse?
Gyllenhaal.
Warhorse?
Was Jake Gyllenhaal played in that, right?
I have no idea. I don't know that. I've never even watched that.
I've never watched it either, but
the whole time I thought that was just Penelope Cruz, not a horse.
Oh my god.
Seabiscuit. Let's get an interview. Seabiscuit. I'm Penelope Cruz. Oh, that's a good girl.
No, but I was talking. Me and my brother were talking a little bit about jockeys, though, dude. That's a fucked up. To be a jockey, that's a conspiracy theory right there. Because you
think they're breeding the jockeys?
Well,
they're making them in labs.
Actually, I think my wife knew some kids so she's from Arlington Heights, and so they have the racetrack up there, the Arlington racetrack, and they have housing up there. And when you drive by it on the expressway, it doesn't look the best, but there's fucking kids that live in. Oh no, I think this is in like the Cicero area actually. So the not Belmora, but Hawthorne, the Hawthorne racetrack. Yeah, that's a pretty gloomy place to live. But like, dude, no, I mean, jockeys in general though, like they're like circus freaks, dude. Like what they have to go through so they can be a jockey is very intense. I mean, like my brother was saying they fucking eat tapeworms so they don't feel hungry and so they can make weight. Because I mean, that's the point. You got to be light, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen documentaries where these fuckers will do like crazy cardio workouts and they'll do it 8 hours a day. Like, so boxing, jiu-jitsu, stuff that just keeps you moving and just like constantly burning calories. Like, calisthenics, all kinds of shit. But like the main thing is like this one guy I was watching, he does a lot of boxing because you burn so many calories doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
But like he was like, I do this 8 hours a day though. You know, like who the fuck? But like, I don't even think Mike Tyson boxed 8 hours a fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, he probably boxed like a good couple hours.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. But like, yeah, I mean, like he also ate like a king and and shit like that. But like, yeah, these guys like they don't, and I don't even think there's really big money in it either. I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there can be big money if you win the race. Yeah, you're gonna get a good piece of the pie, but you don't always win. So you might get only a couple grand on a race instead of 10 or 20 grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, fucking horse racing. It seems like it's a really classy thing, but it's really not. It's really a dark world on the other side.
It's not really a conspiracy, but kind of in line with that, like,
yeah,
CrossFit. So, like, I actually did CrossFit, right?
Okay.
And it is the biggest, like, pyramid scheme scam thing that was ever designed by anybody.
Yeah.
Right? I never got it. Like, I was just looking for something different, right? It was in my military days and all this and that.
Oh yeah.
And so I show up to this shit, and like the people there are too weird. They're like I learned that day that I didn't like it because people were very chummy.
Yeah.
Like encouraging you to do your shit, and it's like I'm just gonna fucking work out. And yeah, it was weird. Like the way that people are with that, it's more of like a cult.
Yeah.
And like the whole like starting your own CrossFit gym and all this and that. And then they had games and then, like the whole all that all that CrossFit is the game is who can work out better. It's not like who's the best at working out. Oh look, I'm the best at working out, because that's all you're doing is just working out a lot.
And all the shitty people start their own CrossFits.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, well, I can make money off of this because I suck at this. Yeah.
I can't win. I want to open up my own and make my own rules.
But like those people, they work out like 6 hours a day.
I mean,
and they just eat like just pure protein and no carbs. And then the day like before a competition, they carb out and they get like a shitload of rice and a ton of water, and they just bloat, and then they just run it off.
You ever see the movie McHale's Navy with I think it's Tom Arnold? It's like a 90s
I've seen
movie.
it. I can't think of it offhand, but
there's this one guy, and because like the new commanding officer's coming and he's gonna ship them, they're all freaking out and they're hiding all their contraband. He fucking takes out a huge thing of like whey protein and he just starts fucking eating it. I'm just like, that's gross, dude. Well, like when you said, "Oh yeah, they just eat a bunch of protein," I'm like, that's just what I just see. Like they just taking spoonfuls of protein powder, fucking swallowing it without water, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm
no." Like what's even worse is, I mean, they'll probably supplement some, but most of what they take in is all like animal foods.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear, dude, like you really do want to stack up on fats. You know what I mean? Like fats are actually good.
Well, yeah, they do like the keto diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just eat like, so like we've only been doing like farming and shit for what, 10,000 years? I think it is.
Only, yeah, we're kind of well,
amateurs. In the big spectrum of things, 10,000 years of a species is not like that long.
No.
Right.
It's really a blink of an eye to the universe.
The 4.5 billion year old planet, and dinosaurs 65 million years before us. 10,000 years isn't a lot.
Then the humans about another 10 million years before them for the dinosaurs.
Yeah. So again, it's 10,000 years is a blip in that case. And like, so before 10,000 years, we were hunter-gatherer people. We were like the Indians. We'd move around from place to place. And our digestive systems have not adapted to our lifestyle yet. So that's why you get all these people with like glucose allergies and
Yeah.
people with like all kinds of food allergies, and it's because we're eating a bunch of shit that we shouldn't.
Like
Like,
I said, guys, I worked at a corn processing plant for a little while, and
mhm.
there was two things that scared the fuck out of me. One, the tank, that if that bursted and it got on you, your face would get ripped off because it had
Was it like
hydrochloric acid
bleach?
in it.
Oh,
No, it
okay.
had hydrochloric acid in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a completely fiberglass tank. We had
Oh,
the company I work for had to replace the existing one with a bigger one. And that was crazy. That was crazy. It was just because the fucking tank was moving and they had a crane and I don't know. Whatever. But that really wasn't as bad. That was probably the safer one. The other one was propylene oxide. And like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if I'm not supposed to talk about this. I haven't been there in 5 years, but whatever. Fuck them. I care less about Cargill. But no, yeah, they got this tank. It's propylene oxide, and like this is why Homeland Security has to come to a food processing plant. And you're like, why?
yeah.
Because it has this. It has hydrochloric acid, and then it has PO, propylene oxide. So any of the time the pipe fitters had to work on that tank or that system, they all had to use brass tools, which
They don't catch spark.
right. They're expensive as fuck, and they're because it's a malleable metal, so they go bad right away. So you're constantly buying new ones. Then they had to be in fresh air because if you get a whiff of this shit, you're fucked. I mean,
Yeah, so they're all suited up and shit.
Yeah, and oxygen, and yeah, it's not a pleasant job. They all hated it every time. But like, I didn't even want to be on fucking campus there when they were doing it because like, I knew it was down. I knew if they made a spark, we were all fucked, you know, because I did a training on it. And because in order to even be in that region of the plant, I had to do a training with everybody. And like, they explained it like this. So they explained that it's put into your gravy in your TV dinners. And it's basically when you see modified starch in your frozen products, that's what it is. And it gives the starch a freeze thaw capability. Otherwise, it tastes like crap and it like liquefies and shit like that. So that's why they spray it on there. But yeah, I mean, they told us in the training like if it blows up, a square mile will easily be gone. And I'm like, what? That's the fucking Horseshoe Casino. That's Lever Brothers. Like. And then, like, I'm just, like, thinking, like, some gas line's going to rupture and it's going to travel all the way down to fucking, like, 5 miles down the road to, what's that place called? BP, the oil refinery, and then just fucking take that place out. You know, so then pretty much that tip of Northwest Indiana is just going to be gone, like, if Cargill goes down. Like, but then, like, I don't know what's at Lever Brothers, and, you know, there's probably something at wherever, you know.
The fact that there's something like that is actually being put into food is disgusting.
It is. No.
You know what I mean? Like,
well,
that's what I mean with people with allergies and shit. It's like you're not eating food anymore. You're eating chemicals that are making it into something that looks like food.
Right. And you know what I thought the biggest fucking joke of it all was? They started building refinery part for non-GMO shit. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So now think about it. So your GMO and your non-GMO shit, it's all being manufactured in the same plant. Yeah. So like,
no matter what, there's going to be some GMO.
Right. I mean, like, I get it. Like, they have a pretty good process. They know what's coming in, you know. Like, I'd see the corn guys. Like, dude, it was crazy. Just trucks of corn every day being dumped there. Like, just, like, all throughout the day. It was like, holy fuck. Just like throughout the year, I'm like, where's this corn coming from? You know, like it's winter. Like, how the fuck do we have corn right now? But like we had it, and like, yeah, and fuck, I don't know, dude. It's crazy, and it smelled like shit there too. Like, if you want to get an idea of what a corn plant smells like, smells like, get corn syrup. Open it up and take a whiff of it. You'll get, I will say, like 10% of what an actual corn plant smells like. But like when I smell, like I did this not too long ago, and I smelled the corn syrup. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Cargill. I smell it right now. Like I smell the sack tanks, and the sack tanks are just like a purification. They take all the water that mixes in with the corn that they whatever process they're doing, and then it sits in these tanks before it can then get flushed into the clarifier, or well, actually the fiber wash system that they have. That's gonna wash all the fibers, the corn fibers, out of the water, and then it gets put in the clarifier, and then it gets put back into the lake next to it. And what's funny is you can't remove all the corn out of the water. They can't do it. There's always a molecule left over, and it's more of a sugar molecule that's left over. So that water immediately starts attracting bugs and starts growing shit, all
algae and
right. So when you pass by the lake next to Cargill, it's called Wolf Lake. On a windy day, you'll see the water and it's green, and it's because it's got a high amount of that shit in there. But dude, I've talked to people that were, back in the 70s when they were kids, they used to go on that lake, and they would say when they'd come out, their eyes would be burning and shit. So I just want to know what Cargill was dumping in there back then, without their water treatment shit. So it's like, oh fuck,
Jesus.
Man, yeah, I guess we really trailed off today. We didn't really get into any conspiracy theories. I mean, hey, if you're up for a round 2, I'll do a round 2. But yeah, we've been at it for the last hour here. So, I mean, I think the stuff we talked about was needed to know. So
this was a need to know basis, and people needed to know. Basis.
But just remember, guys. www.tellitrightpodcast.com. Go to the comments or the contact page. Leave us a comment. Tell us some of the conspiracies out there for the next full moon. That will be in a month from here. But yeah. I don't know. You want to do a part 2?
No.
Okay. So everybody, this is it. All right, so we're signing up.
Well, I mean, we could do a part 2, but not a part 2 right now.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's what I mean.
Basically, just the next full moon.
The next full moon. We'll do that. I actually meant we would sign off here. We'd start this all over again. No, but
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah. No, it's cool because we got some good shit coming up next time for the next conspiracy theory. I think we want to talk a little bit about Kobe Bryant, so we're going to keep that on the list. I do at one point want to dive into North Korea. That is a fucked up place. And when people come to the United States, they're like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to get more into that.
Oh, we'll talk about some North Korea.
Yeah. You fucking Kim Jong-un. So yeah, there's another person I've attacked. Now the Scientologists, the Christians, now Kim Jong-un. Going after everybody.
Bombed. You're gonna end up like Kobe Bryant. Somebody's gonna take you out.
No way, man. Not this guy. But remember, everybody, just leave some comments on our website there. Make sure you're following, subscribing, and that's all I got. You got anything, Jared? You want to tell the fans to fucking do something?
I don't know. Go fuck yourself. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I don't know what you were looking for there.
So now everybody's gonna finish our podcast and just start masturbating. That's
right.
That's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, you can
listen
leave
to some
now
Jared Mike and then just
leave now and beat traffic, or stay here and beat your meat.
That's how we do it. All right, see you later, everybody. Peace. That's our show. Please make sure to subscribe to catch all the latest episodes of Tell It Right Podcast. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
bye.